Welcome, everyone, to Early Education Nation, your podcast for all things early education. I am your host, Ryan Lee Mays, and with me, of course, is Joellen Johnson.
Hello, everybody.
And we have a special guest today that's coming in our mini studio, our makeshift studio we have right here. Would you like to introduce yourself for our listeners?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Sure.
I am a mother of two kids that are now 7 and 8 years old. And both of them went through early education.
Very good.
Fantastic. Well, we're glad you're here. Thank you.
Absolutely. You've been with our school for how long now?
Oh, that's a very good question. Let's see. They were 3 and 4 when they enrolled.
3 and 4.
Yes.
And now in our school age program now as well. So very good.
Yes.
Excellent. So we want to ask some questions kind of from a parent perspective. And you've had them through like our pre-K program and our kindergarten program, and actually our preschool program and pre-K and kindergarten, and now into school age. So you've kind of got to see the growth and development. So maybe for parents who are either just new to the early education field or maybe prospective parents thinking about coming into early education, I just had a few questions that we kind of wanted to ask you today and just kind of get your opinion on it. So when you were looking for a place to enroll your students, your children, I'm always going to call them students, being a director, but your children in those places, the whole process of itself, what kind of reservations were there? Or were there any reservations in enrolling your child in an early education school?
That's a great question. I feel like not in terms of, the kids, but me as a mom, was I ready to let them go?
Okay.
Would it be, like, that was honestly, I think that was the biggest hurdle, but if I look at my kids, what I thought was that hopefully, like, early education would give them a head start when time comes for formal schooling.
Good.
So hopefully that would prepare them for,
Sure.
school. So in terms of my kids, no reservations at all.
Were they?
Mom is different.
Well, that's so true. I think for a
Yeah.
lot of parents are going to relate to that.
Oh,
100%. Did they, before you came to our school, before you moved to our area, did they go to earlier, were they younger when they started in early education, or was this their first experience?
This was their first experience.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Well, then I guess the follow-up would be, was there any reservations on their part?
A ton. Like
Okay.
a gazillion billion.
Yeah.
Well, I have kids that really, just enjoy the quiet life.
Sure.
The mom life. And
Sure.
they didn't really see the need to go anywhere else.
Sure.
And how could you blame them? Because they didn't know what, was awaiting them. So.
Right. And it really kind of goes into the whole separation anxiety thing that a lot of parents have to deal with with it, and trying to have that secure separation. But I think there's almost a feeling of I'm doing an injustice to my child by leaving them when they're crying and going off and saying, it's just that triggering. I'm being a bad parent. My children are a little bit older. My stepdaughter, when I had to take her, but she would get the teary eyes when I had to leave, and it kills you in your heart.
Yep, it's the worst.
Yes.
It is. Yep.
And it's very hard, but I think you, and I won't want to speak for you, but for me, when I was more confident with it and said, okay, you know what, you're going to be fine. This is a safe place. I love you, and I can't wait to come back to see you. That's when they started really building that secure attachment with school, saying, I'm okay.
Yeah, you're giving them permission that
Yeah.
you're okay. You trust the environment, so hopefully they can as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Another question here for you. So when you have to find a place to send your child, and I'm actually pretty surprised. A lot of our parents that come in are like, well, I drove by and I saw you. And they came in, and that's great. Good, you hit the right place on the first try. But for other parents, they do a lot of research.
Yes.
They're scouring the internet. They're looking up websites. They're talking to parent groups, things like that. How much research did you have to do before you came in?
We did a lot.
Okay.
Really a lot. And I mean, to me, it's like double-sided, because one thing is the values of the school, and but honestly, most important to me was the people inside the school.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can have a very, it sounds so good on paper, but the people are actually what's most important to me. And also, we did listen to a lot of our friends who had kids in early education, and we actually decided to go with some friends that we really trust, who recommended them.
Yeah.
You can safely send your kids here. They will be fine.
That's good.
And that was I think that that's what did it for me. Like, I had some friends to ask, and they said,
That's good.
go for it.
Yeah, to trust your community and those that you already have that relationship with, and getting that advice gives you comfort going in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's great. And that's what we want to see. We want parents to come in researched. It would be easiest for us to just talk about all the things that we do here, and these are the positives, and we're working on this, and how great is our school. But when they come in with questions, then we can answer what their concerns are right away.
Yeah.
And say, this is how we address this, or this is how we handle that. So please, if for parents, if you're prospective parents out there looking for education, don't feel embarrassed or that you're putting out the school by asking questions. We want that.
Oh, yeah.
It helps us out a lot. It helps us with our touring, so we can show you what's important to you and for your child's development. So
That's really, really solid advice. And I mean, you had to deal with me, so you had all the stupid questions. But honestly, but honestly, as a parent, you have to be your kid's voice and ask all these questions. And that's also, as a parent, a better way to prepare your kids.
Sure.
That you ask all those questions, because I didn't know anything.
Yeah, you're coming into it, and you want to have that safe feeling. We'll go back to that security, that this is a place that I care about. I compare it to, like, if you had a giant gem, a diamond, something like that, you wouldn't just walk over to your neighbors and say, watch this for me. You would want to know that it's secure and there's protection and people are watching it all day long and taking care of it. But really, your most precious possession is your child. And so you need to ask those same exact questions. How are they being watched? How are they being taken care of? How are they being protected? What's for their growth and development? So, yeah.
But again, speaking on my behalf, it really was the people inside the school.
Good.
That's good. Really made the difference to me, and me being okay with handing over my kids. That. Like, I don't really care if they come home pretty dirty or not, as long as they had fun and been around amazing people. Yeah. Like, that's all that matters, really.
Very good.
To a hippie mamas like me,
right.
At least.
Well played. We call the dirtiness well played. Play throughout the day. And yes, exactly.
No, I love that you mentioned the disconnect, because I think it's just like anything. You could read on paper and it sounds like, oh, the newest shiny toy, I'm going to go buy that. And then you get it. In reality, it doesn't meet up to your expectations. So, So that's fantastic. And people do make all the difference. Yeah. When you were originally getting ready to have them start, were you more concerned? I mean, you mentioned that you just wanted them to feel safe and loved. So was academics important to you? Was it mostly the social emotional?
I would say that to me, definitely that they were emotional ready, because I strongly believe that if, at least my kids, if they're emotional ready, all the learning and all the academics will follow. Yeah. And it's not the other way around, but that's my humble opinion.
No,
I support that opinion.
100%.
And another important aspect for me was that it was somewhat play-based school, because I still believe that kids learn the best way through play.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we agree with that wholeheartedly here. I hear stories about kids that are in kindergarten reading at like a third grade level, and then they go to kindergarten and they get kicked out. And it's because they didn't know how to sit or raise their hands or take turns or understand that other people had needs outside of theirs that had to be attended to. So when you develop that social emotional readiness where they just understand what it is to be a student first, then like you said, the academics come, and they usually come a lot stronger because now they know how to handle those things.
But I also understand parents who find it difficult to just stay calm when their kids are maybe not like academically strong, because it will come. And I can tell that this is a pretty competitive society somehow, and as a parent it takes an inner calmness to accept, hey, maybe my kid doesn't read that well, but you know what, he or she will get there. She's like emotional healthy, will get there in time. I wish more parents, again, my opinion, I wish more parents would take a breath.
Yeah, that's good advice. Very good advice.
Yeah. It is hard, and I think you tapped into something when you said it is unfortunately the culture, the environment, where it's like everybody wants their child to be the best. Well, what does that look like? What does that mean?
Does that exactly look like?
Every child has their own gifts and talents, and they grow and mature in different ways.
Yes.
I think it's important to remember comparison is the thief of joy. When we look at that and say, well, they're not like their sibling was, or they're not like a neighbor is, but they might be excelling in an area that maybe the sibling isn't or the neighbor isn't, because that is just their natural course of development. And maybe they're not picking up their ABCs as fast, but they're regulating themselves better when they get upset and things like that. So there's always, you have to be very aware of those changes in your child. It's not always going to be just on pen and paper of what they can do academically. So
no, absolutely true.
Yeah.
Absolutely true.
Very good.
Well, when they left early childhood, I mean, they're still kind of in early childhood, right?
Sure,
Isn't
yeah.
they go through third grade officially, right? But when they left an early childhood education center and moved on to elementary school, what was the biggest challenge for them or for you as a parent?
Well, honestly, like the preschool that we came from, I feel like the Christians should more be what was the biggest advantage. Because honestly, there weren't any, this is going to sound so wrong, but I mean, they were just so ready for school. They knew structure, they learned how to receive, education, and they were so well prepared that honestly the biggest challenge were for them finding new friends because they left everyone else.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was just so impressed because they were ready. They did a good job at our preschool, to be honest. So
that's wonderful. Thank you.
So that was, again, mom worry without any reason for it. So.
Well, no, and it's definitely valid.
Yeah. And I actually asked my kids, so what did you think was the biggest challenge when you moved, like, from preschool to elementary school? And they both went, my son did, well, honestly, Mom, it was just that I didn't have any friends, that I had to find new friends, and...
But he did. He had built those skills.
Yes,
that,
exactly.
Those interpersonal skills that made it easy for him.
And I could tell that they were ready to receive, like, what do you call it, education, or they were ready to learn because they had learned all the basics from preschool. So, no, I wouldn't say there were any challenges.
Okay, good. Well, that's good. I'm very happy to say this, that, I've got to see your children from the time of preschool up and see them grow in development, and they have such a sense of wonder now and excitement and happiness. Like when I go into the classroom and I see them up there and they're just like, it's exciting and motivating for us as educators to see it. Wow, this is so great, coming to a place that you're not really used to, getting to the point where you're one of the leaders in the classroom. Like that's,
Well, actually, when we talk about early education, there's another thing I would like to address in terms of the parents. Mm-hmm. And this is something I realized having kids in preschool. And it's not just the kids that learn and develop. As a parent, you learn how much your kids are actually capable of and what they are ready for. Because, again, I'll speak for myself. As a mom, I just want to keep them safe and happy and make sure they have everything they need. And, and then you hand over your kids to people who actually work with kids and know stuff and trust my kids.
Right?
Trust my kids in a different way because I'm just, I see them in the same setting all the time. Yeah. So I would say that putting your kids into early education is just as much, educating the parents and showing them what kids are actually capable of.
That is very good.
That was a learning that
it's pretty amazing, right? My kid can do that?
Yeah.
Probably in a lot more that we don't even know about.
Exactly right, because you put them in hands of teachers who have like this another approach to them. And I think it's the greatest gift ever, especially when you find teachers that are a good match for your kid, because then like trust and dedication. Yeah.
What would you say? So now I think across this, not only this country, but I think worldwide, we're understanding how important early education is. Mm-hmm. What would you say to those that say that's not important? We need to be, especially lawmakers right now, that's not important. We need to be focusing more just on kindergarten above, elementary school, and that's more of a luxury, early education.
But as Joellen just said, I mean, that depends on what does early education look like to you. And to me, it's, meeting friends, learning how to be among other kids, and I feel definitely as a parent that they grow as little human beings. It's not at least for me, it was not a question if they can do the ABC before they're
Sure.
2 or 3 years old, or if they can read by the age
Yeah.
of 4. That had nothing to do with it. It was just much more, giving them some challenges that I wouldn't think of as a parent.
Yeah.
Because isn't it like in the first 5 years that a kid's brain is developed?
90%.
90%.
It's downhill from there.
You peak at 5 years, and then after that?
No, and I truly feel, and I think there's a lot of parents that do a great job that the kids. That's not what I'm saying, but if I am to focus on some of what's important about early education and why I'm glad we did it, I would say it's just, giving my kids some other challenges and making friends and developing
That's good.
cute little human being
Sure.
in a safe environment.
Yeah, in a safe, quality environment. When you're talking about brain development, and it's that 90% of the brain is developed by a child's 5th birthday, that it's not just about giving them that their brain's developing, it's giving them a quality, rich environment. And you do that at home. Our parents do it at home all the time, but it's giving them new opportunities. It's giving them stretch opportunities and learning in different ways in early childhood.
One thing that I always appreciated was your parent involvement in the classrooms. And you volunteered to do some amazing things and presentations and all of this fun stuff that the kids would talk about, for days and weeks afterwards. And yes, it was always great. Can you talk about the importance a little bit of parents being involved in their child's education?
I think it's some of the childhood memories that kids carry with them forever, that the caregiver or mom, dad, whoever it is in their life was there and was involved. That they know the names of the friends and the teachers, the routines, and I think it's to me it's definitely one of the kind of childhood memories that kids take with them, and you, as a role model, you show them that
Yeah.
And other than that, I just love being around kids. I mean, they are just so honest and I think it's my
not only were
favorite.
your children happy to see you when you picked up, all the other children in our house were happy to see you when you would pick up, and they'd all come run to the door to say hi. And
I missed them, and I still remember the names, and that's,
And we get happy when you come by. I mean, you just have a source of light around you, and it's really nice.
Well, thank you. Yeah. But also, as a parent, you also have to remember that the teachers will know what they're doing. So I hope I did it in a respectful, way, and not in a.
No,
that's good. I always like to say, like, when the children leave is really where the education starts, because a lot of the masters of early education and child development talk about the importance of society in raising the child. And so when you can have parent involvement in, their child's life, or maybe it's an aunt, uncle, or somebody that comes to present or something, it does mean so much. It brings a home connection to what's being taught. And it doesn't have to be a school life and a home life. It's, conjoined together to where they're learning no matter where they go. And it's such a nice thing. It's a rich thing to have. So.
I know my son is now a junior in high school, but he started our infant class and went all the way through. And I still am friends with some of his friends, right? And I know you develop relationships here with some of the other parents. And I think that that's one of the things we love about early childhood is those lifelong friendships and memories that you're creating.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I also just want to say thank you for the kind words, but it also, honestly, it points to you guys as being open-minded and in a welcoming environment. So I appreciate the kind words, but I honestly think it, it goes to you guys for being...
We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
One thing I've always admired about the school, and it goes to the top, Joellen put this in place. In fact, it was on our mural, still is right here in the front, is about, growing roots in our community. And letting this be a community project together and not a business so much. It is a school. It is getting everybody involved. That's why we have so many community events and have parents coming in and out and showing their talents. And I feel there's a true responsibility that if you have something to offer, even if you're not a teacher, you should put it out there and say, hey, I can do that. We have a parent that's going to be doing a presentation, I think, next week on kindness to the students. So, yeah, and so again, we appreciate you doing all of that and hope that encourages other parents to speak up and say, hey, I've got something I can offer.
Absolutely.
And bring it. So
it is so rewarding. And I mean, if not anything else, look at it as an investment in your own kids, because they will remember this forever, that parents got involved. And dedicated some time with them in this way, and so their daily life. So.
All right. Well, I know you have some journalism background, so I'm going to throw a hard ball at you right now.
Go for it.
What's the one thing you would tell a parent that is considering whether or not to put their child into early education?
Go for it.
Okay.
Is that short enough?
I think that's good.
One thing?
Yeah.
No, I mean, do your research.
Yeah.
Instead of getting blindsided by what sounds fancy or anything like that, you look at your kid.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be your starting point. What kind of kid do I have? Is it a quiet, a loud, an active, not so active? What are interests? What kind of environment would they thrive in? I mean, really start there.
That's very good.
Other than that, I can only
know your child, do your research, and go for it.
That's it. I love it.
And this is coming from someone who really didn't want to let her kids go. Okay,
of course.
So I grew too.
Very,
we
very
all
good.
do. We all do. Yeah.
I think just a side point, I don't know why this popped in my head, but we do have to, as parents, be weary of fancy facades on schools. You'll see these beautiful schools they've spent tons of money in, and they put nothing into the development of the teachers, the education. Okay. It's just, it becomes one of those that will enroll you and disenroll you as you come, and if that is what they're all about, then steer clear of those places. Like you said, you have to get inside and really understand what's going on.
You have to meet the people, honestly. I know there's a lot of fancy schools and a lot of options. Yeah. And we honestly went with an elementary school where I just loved the people. Good. I still truly believe that if kids feel loved and safe, they will learn everything they have to in due time, and they will be good people.
Very good.
I would much rather have good people out of the world than straight A students, because good people will get to where they need to be in their own time.
I love that. That is great.
Thank you so much for sharing
your
perspectives.
Good.
And great advice. Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like we need to end on that because that's the best. That's the best line right there. But just really want to thank you for coming on and thank you for being part of our school here for so long, and just hope you'll continue to be part of us.
As long as you have me.
Okay.
Always.
Excellent. So that'll wrap us up for this week. Thank you all for listening. We'll have another episode out next week. Please subscribe to us. I think we're on everywhere now, right?
Yeah, we should
Spotify
be,
and
lots of platforms.
Yeah, I think you can Amazon Music and iHeartRadio and Apple. So you guys can catch us anywhere. Please subscribe and pass it on to somebody else. We are not specific to our school. We're an early education podcast. So anybody, anywhere, at any time, hopefully can listen and pick up a gem or two to use in their life.
We'd love to hear from you. So please reach out with any questions, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. See you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye, guys.